This this has been absolutely insane. So this is a booster box of Lost Thunder. This is what we're giving away like right now because we hit 97,000 subscribers. This is a booster box of Fates Collide. This is the new giveaway now that we've hit 98,000 subscribers, and it just keeps going and going and going super fast. We're almost at that 100K mark. We'll do another giveaway at 99K, and then the 100,000 is going to be like the most epic thing ever. 3 vintage booster boxes, a 100-pack break giveaway. It's going to be a lot of fun. But let's give away this Lost Thunder booster box. So congratulations to King's Pokemon Empire. King's Pokemon Empire, thank you so much for all your support. You are the winner of a brand new Lost Thunder booster box. If you want to claim that, all you have to do is just shoot me an email, a screenshot of basically your YouTube homepage. I just need to verify things. So you can find me on Twitter at Danny__. You can shoot me a message on Instagram at Danny.phantump, or just send me an email, DannyPhantumpContent@gmail.com. Now, we are going to give away this Fates Collide booster box. So a little bit older. Some really cool cards in here. Alakazam, Secret Rare Alakazam. Not quite as expensive. At least I don't think. It might have caught up to Lost Thunder in price. But regardless, who cares? Very, very cool box. But if you want to win, all you have to do is just hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and then leave a comment. Come back next week, Friday, where we will reveal the winner for this Fates Collide booster box. So subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment. Boom, you are entered. And then we'll do it again for 99K. And then the 100K, I'll create like a link and everybody will get one entry and it'll just be absolutely phenomenal. I want to talk about Scarlet and Violet. So Scarlet and Violet, it is so much fun to open, and I've gotten a lot of questions about pull rates being too good. Some people kind of on the fence, not necessarily happy about pull rates being too good. I don't really understand why. I understand that it devalues some of the cards, but you're getting 12 hits. So if you've been around in Pokemon for quite some time, let's say around the Black and White era, XY era, for example, you would usually open up 5, maybe 6 ultra rares in a booster box. It was painful. It was not fun. Opening boxes and boxes of Roaring Skies to try and pull a $40 to $50 Shaman and ending up with just a bunch of $2, $3 EXs, it was not very enjoyable to do. For a long time throughout the XY era, throughout the Black and White era, many of the cards that you pulled did not have much value associated with them. In fact, for the majority of time, all the way up until, let's say, really Evolving Skies, I mean, for the most part, the chase cards in Pokemon trading card sets were relatively cheap. You were looking at $30, $40 for pre-order pricing. I remember doing a lot of podcasts back in the day where we would go over pre-order pricing for a lot of singles that would come out, and rarely would we ever find an incident where single cards were selling for more than $50 to $60 pre-order. So this is not something new to the Pokemon space. There has been a long time where value does not necessarily dictate how good a set is, but what dictates how good a set is the feeling you get when you open up a booster box. Don't worry about the value. This is supposed to be a lot of fun. If your cards increase in value, if they go up in value, if you find a really good deal, that's awesome. If you can utilize the market in order to make the best decisions for your collection goals, that's fantastic. However, this is good for the hobby, and the reason why this is good for the hobby is because for a long time, people were not happy with the pull rates. And then when things started getting a little bit further on in the Sword and Shield block, when you had the Trainer Gallery introduction, you had the Radiant cards being introduced, it felt better. It felt like you were actually opening Ultras. It felt like you were opening really cool artwork cards that people really enjoyed opening booster packs again. For the most part, during the Sword and Shield era, Rebel Clash era, and then afterwards for the first several alternate art sets from the Sword and Shield block, people were complaining about pull rates because you were only getting 7-ish, maybe 8 hits per set, and with the vast amount of ultra rares that there were, especially when it comes to alternate arts like Battle Styles, Evolving Skies, Chilling Reign, it was very difficult to complete a master set because you were looking at about 1 per case in order to pull an alternate art, and since the variation, like there were 4 different alternate arts or 6 different alternate arts, so you would have to open up 6 different cases, pull perfectly in order to get 1 of every alternate. It's just not realistic. So having the opportunity for people to be able to open packs and have a wide range of pulls that they're getting, I think it's really, really good for the hobby. People get less upset, they start buying more, they open up more packs, it keeps people around for the long term, and that's what Pokemon really needs. We want this game to be around for the long term. That helps the TCG grow, it helps the competitive TCG grow, it helps the collector space grow for years and years down the road. Don't worry, like I said, about the financial side of things. That's not nearly as important. Money comes and goes, but having things like this where Pokemon is constantly doing things in order to kind of cater to the collector and the enjoyment of kids and families who want to open up cards for fun, that's what's really important. So I'm okay with this, and I'm actually really, really happy. We've had some of the most significant price drops I have ever seen, and we're going to look at some of these price drops. And what I did was I screenshotted what cards were selling for on Friday morning, so a week ago, release day in the morning, because I think that's really where you get a really good gauge on where cards are going and what kind of price point you can expect to see moving forward, because we don't really want to necessarily compare them to pre-order pricing, which is going to be inflated. But once companies actually understand these pull rates and the market is open so anybody can sell these cards on TCG Player, that gives you a really good idea of where the cards are actually expected to go. Now, since we're a week later, a week after this set has released, cards are kind of stabilizing a little bit, and it kind of tells you, okay, this is the price point, this is my baseline. Do I want to buy it at this price point, or do I want to wait a little bit? But the most important thing to take note of is the fact that this is fun. It is fun to open. A lot of people are getting a lot of enjoyment out of cracking Scarlet and Violet booster boxes. The gray borders, I think, are growing out a lot of people. The conditioning, the quality checks, not quite as good as what we would hope for, but still better than what we've seen in the past. So I think that's really good, and the artwork is just sublime. It is absolutely stunning. There are a couple of cards that I think I do want to, that aren't going to appear in the actual slideshow, so I wanted to take note of them right away. First of all, these cards have grown like crazy. Some of these illustration rares, if you want to call it, that's what they're called, illustration rares. These are actually doing extremely well in this space. So Ralts, this is the storyline cards, right? So the Ralts into the Curlia, the growing while the family grows mentality. It's really, really cool how the storyline plays out. Really reminds you of kind of like that Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard, the Tepig, Pignite, Emboar, those cards from the past. But look at how well it is actually done. So pre-order pricing was right around $15 for this Ralts, and then it shrunk down to about $8.50. That was around release day pricing, and since it was that low, it actually didn't show up when I was sorting through TCG Player the highest listings to kind of screenshot for this presentation. But look where it is now, $20.15. This is one of the more expensive cards in the set after some of those higher special illustration rares that people really want, but selling for $20 for this Ralts card, definitely over double the price of where it was on opening day. Same thing with the Curlia, doing extremely well. This card is very, very cool, but you can see Curlia there with the baby, the family introduction. It's really, really neat how this storyline all plays out. But again, a card that was pre-ordering for about $9, and then release day came and the card took a big hit, selling for about $7.80, and then look, it just skyrocketed after that up to $11.41. So the artwork that tells a story, the artwork that people enjoy, really kind of dictates how these cards are going to perform in the collector space. And these aren't necessarily the competitive variations of these cards. A lot of people are playing Curlia from Silver Tempest, or they're playing different variants from other sets maybe that have a higher HP total that are going to do better in decks. So these aren't, that's not the reason these are being driven. It's really the artwork, the story, and what people are finding enjoyment out of. So those aren't going to appear in this actual slideshow, but let's take a look at just how things have been performing over the past week. So we're going to start out with the Arven card. This is just the full art right here. You can see selling on opening day at a market price of $10.65. When I took these new prices yesterday, so you're looking at 6 days after release, this card had already dropped down to $6.83. This is a fairly competitive card. This card should show up in a lot of decks, but this card has dropped 36% in the span of 6 days. So now this isn't even including those pre-order prices, maybe things that were selling early last week, because some of those cards, as you've seen, like the Miriam, for example, that was selling for $200, $250, significant drop. So Arven, a 36% drop, fairly substantial. So it's nice to see some of these cards really getting into cheap price points. People can fill out their master sets for a decent price, and it still takes you roughly 1,000 packs really to fill out a master set, but a lot of people want to be able to open up the majority of it, so the variations and things like that does make it a lot more enjoyable to open. The Spidops EX, the special illustration rare, this one was selling for about $10. This is the cheapest, I believe, of the special illustration rares. You can see the current price point as of yesterday was $5.16. So this one took a fairly large hit, about 48.3% over the past week. Team Sargrunt, this is a full art trainer. This was selling for $9.74, and now it's already dropped to $3.41. So you're looking at a 65% drop. That's huge. When we talk about looking at some of these sets in the past, 60 to 70% is really what you could expect for an opening weekend drop from pre-order pricing. So these singles are actually opening day singles that are dropping 65%. 40%. That's very large. If we look at the shiny Arcanine, you can't really see it, but this is actually in the positive. This one's actually doing fairly well. This one in the Gyarados, these Terra cards are actually doing extremely well. They're actually performing better than what they were on opening day, kind of like that Ralts and that Curly that we were looking at earlier. This one was selling for $15.22 on that opening Friday, and then fast forward 6 days later, it's selling for $16.64. So about $1.50 up, or 9.33% that it's selling for now, higher than where it was on opening day. If we look at the full art penny, the ultra rare from Scarlet and Violet, this one was selling for $14.46. It's dropped 46% over the past 6 days, so it's down to $7.80, relatively cheap. You can see that's a 46% drop. The basic lightning energy, the secret rare or hyper rare, as we are supposed to call it now, this one's doing much, much better in the space than the fighting energy, and that's because it will have at least some competitive play associated with it because of Regieleki and Miraidon, although I don't think that's going to be a huge deck, and we never know. Fighting might come up later on in the format, but as of right now, it's not great in the space. This one was selling for about $13 last week Friday on opening day. Over the past 6 days, it has dropped to $10.94, so not bad. About what we could expect, what we would normally expect from a normal set release, 15.65% of a drop over the past 6 days. If we look at the Gardevoir EX, this one got hit really hard, surprisingly, especially considering how expensive Gardevoir was expected to be. The regular art selling for about $7 to $8 by itself. That one's almost doubled in price since opening day, but the full art not doing nearly as well. $11 for a full art right here. I think a lot of people are either leaning towards the special illustration rare or they're leaning towards the regular art, but this one has dropped over 38% over the past 6 days, from $18.12 down to $11.19. The hyper rare candy, the hyper rare secret rare, I'm just gonna have to call them secret. It's gonna be so tough to kind of adapt to these new terms. The hyper rare secret rare or hyper rare candy from $17.17 has dropped down to $9.59. So that's a 44% drop over the past 6 days. The Miraidon EX full art, so this is the ultra rare from Scarlet and Violet. This one went from $16.05 down to $14.12. So this one not a bad drop at all. This one only dropped about 12%, which is much less than what we've seen from some of these other ones. The hyper rare Nest Ball went from $23.73 down to $16.61, way different than its Sun and Moon secret rare equivalent, which is still selling for over $30. This one went from $23.73 down to $16.61, so a 30% drop. The Gyarados EX Terra, this one actually gained 14%, so this is the other one that has gone up, and this one actually went up a little bit higher than that Arcanine, from $23.23 up to $26.49, so over $3 or 14%. The Professor's Research, this one dropped from $19.55 down to $12.93. This that's a 33.86%. This one a little bit better than the other Professor's Research full art in the set. This one performing a little bit better. I wonder why. The Special Illustration Rare Arvin went from $26.65 down to $11.70. That's a huge drop of 56%. The Jacques, oh my goodness, the Special Illustration Jacques, this one got hammered. 72.23% drop. That is absolutely huge. This is higher than what we see typically from a lot of pre-order prices dropping on opening weekend, but this one went from $25 down to $6.94. I don't even think this is the highest drop. I think there's one higher than this one yet. The Koraidon Hyper Rare went from $24.81 down to $14.67. That's about a 41% drop, so that's fairly substantial. And then the Iron Treads EX, this is the big one right here. This one, it's such a cool card, but it's so cheap. Went from $32.39 down to $6.68. That's almost an 80% drop. It's dropped 79.38%, which is absolutely huge. I don't remember seeing these drops since Vivid Voltage, the Amazing Rares, where people didn't know how big the pull rates were going to be or how good the pull rates were going to be. You're looking at like Amazing Rares from Vivid Voltage drop rates right here, 80%. Absolutely crazy. The Special Illustration Rare Penny went from $31.07 down to $13.20. That's a 57.5% drop. The Hyper Rare Miraidon EX, $30.63 is where it was at opening day. That one dropped to $21.22. That's about a 31% drop. Then we've got the Special Illustration Rare Koraidon EX. This one went from $63.70 down to $38.40. That's about a 40% drop. The Full Art Miriam, this one actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be. $46.84. This one dropped to $30.49. So only about a 35% drop. I expected to see a bigger drop that people, once Miriam, the Special Illustration Rare, came down in price so much, I thought people would kind of lean towards that one more, which would cause this one to have an even bigger drop. But this one actually not doing too bad. Then we've got the Great great Tusk EX. This one went from $37.26 down to $14.53. So that one lost over $20, about 61%. And the last three that we're going to look at are the big three from the set. So these ones still selling for decent amounts. I know a lot of people complain about value. You don't have a card over $100 in the set. I get it, but you never used to. You literally never used to. That Latias and Latios rainbow rare or alternate art from Team Up that everybody's so crazy about, that's, you know, a $700-800 card. A couple weeks after release, that was a $30 card. Like, it was just not, it was nowhere near anything like this. So those were chase cards back then. They were much, much cheaper than what they are now. So this isn't bad at all. Miriam, the special illustration rare, went from $100.95. That's how far it fell on opening day. It lost half of its value, and then it dropped another 24% on top of it over the past week. So it's down to $76.46. The Miradon EX special illustration rare, this one dropped from $94.08 down to $61.55. So that's a 34.5% drop. And then finally, we've got the Gardevoir EX special illustration rare, the final evolution from that Ralts Curlia family. This one went from $74.43 down to $46.79. So that's another 37% drop. It'll be interesting to see, continue to track how these continue to fall, because Scarlet and Violet is a lot of fun to open. We'll kind of look at details from pull rates and get a good idea next week of what average value you can expect to get out of your Scarlet and Violet booster box, so you can determine what price point you want to be at when it comes to buying them. But that fun cost that we talk about all the time definitely increases a lot when you're actually pulling 12, 13, 14 hits from a booster box. Cards that you would put in a binder that you really enjoy looking at. Some of these cards are really, really cool to look at. So I'm definitely okay with it. But you can let me know what you think in the comments section down below. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch the video. If you could do me a favor and just hit that subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment, share the video. That'll enter you to win this Fates Collide booster box. But also, it's really good for the algorithm. If not, thank you so much just for watching. It's always so much fun just hanging out, talking, reading comments, things like that. So I will see you guys on Sunday with another video. Until then, peace.